Hi everyone, welcome to TGIF. Another Friday, another episode. I asked ChatGPT a question, what is LangChain? And the response I got is, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, LangChain is a new term, and we've been hearing this term from a lot of our customers who visit Tech Center. I thought it's best to kind of double click on this topic and understand what it's all about. When I say it's a new term, yes, it was launched in October 2022, and hence ChatGPT does not know about it, right? So it's my pleasure to invite again Srikanth and Shankaran, Senior Technical Architect at the Tech Center, for a short conversation. Srikanth, welcome to TGIF.
Yeah, hi Sandeep, great to be here again.
Wonderful. So quickly, LangChain, we spoke about this 3 days back and you said, hey, you built some application on the weekend. So quickly help us understand, what is LangChain?
Yeah, I think LangChain is a framework which application developers can use to build applications that leverage large language models in a programmatic way.
Perfect. So that means, when we build application, there are multiple steps. Let's take a quick example, right? I need to plan for a holiday, right? The scenario is as a developer, I need to build an application which will help me plan my holiday depending weather condition and eventually help me apply leave. So there are multiple steps here, right? Now, it is multiple steps that I need to join together to solve a specific prompt of mine, which is, hey, help me plan a holiday depending weather forecast and apply leave end of the day, right?
Exactly.
So if this is the scenario, does LangChain help me kind of bring it all together, and I need to at least worry about how to construct that?
Yeah, in fact, right. LangChain as a framework provides different elements which actually address all those aspects that you mentioned. So, for example, for starters, we need to have first an ability to create those prompts on the fly. Okay,
Right.
so there's different scenarios, and for each of those, we need to make the prompt very efficient to make sure that it sort of gets the job done.
Right.
So that's the first part. So we need the support for prompt templates which you can embed into your application, so that programmatically we sort of generate those prompts in the best
Okay.
possible way, and then you get those responses. So that's the first aspect.
Okay.
The second aspect is that there are numerous systems from where you need to sort of invoke and get the information. For example,
Right.
because large language models by themselves cannot fetch the information.
Right.
So that's where this notion of agents that is available as a part of the framework comes in, where they understand the target system, and LLMs can use that agent to sort of make this communication happen and make sure that the information that is retrieved and can be fed into the application.
Got it.
So that's the second part of it.
Okay.
The third part of it is that, hey, I'm going to have a long tail of conversation, the way you described it, the fact that I need to look at the location that I need to go, what's the temperature or weather conditions there,
Right.
make some, book the tickets for my journey, and then also plan my leave. The unit has someone who's going to retain the state of this conversation, because you're going to have a back and forth with LLM from a chat application, for example. So I need to be able to hold that in memory, and that's a technicality that also is provided by the LangChain framework to store this kind of state of conversation in memory, and then make sure it is sort of leveraged and sort of used in the right way and contextually.
Wonderful. I think this is definitely a blessing in disguise for developers, because right now we meet a lot of developers,
Yeah.
architects. They're saying, I need to build this application. LLM is one of the many steps that I need to invoke. So how do I do this? So LangChain comes in handy. So as per your narrative, it is easy for a developer to kind of make this happen, build this application, worrying less about the chain of events that one is to stitch together, right?
Exactly.
So for example, fetching in weather forecast of a location where I need to holiday.
Yes.
So LLM will not have access to real-time data, right? Number two, applying leave internally. One external call, second internal call. And third, of course, is I think I like the fact that you mentioned memory, because if you look at large language model, even let's take, invoking DaVinci as a model under large language model, right? So every time I need to basically remember the conversation, I need to make the part of my prompt so that the model remembers the sequence of questions I've asked. For example, if I say, hey, basis your recommendation on weather, which you mentioned earlier, is it advisable for me to plan this month or next month, right? I might say this month is rain, next month is summer, as an example.
Exactly, yeah.
So the model should remember what was the weather forecast that the model gave earlier,
Yes.
and stitch that and keep that in context and then respond to my question.
Exactly,
right?
yes, I think
So the
that's
memory you mentioned is automatically taken care for me by the LangChain in terms of sequence of content I've had so far. Is that right?
Exactly, you're right.
So that means, Srikanth, any developers who wish to build an application like this, they can right away get going with LangChain. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's an open source library where actually people, communities are actively contributing.
Right.
And there are already great number of components that are already available which can actually fit into different scenarios.
Right.
And yeah, it's available in different programming languages, Python for starters, and then JavaScript and TypeScript as well. So I think pretty much covers the field where people need to build those kind of applications.
Wonderful. This is fantastic. And also, Srikanth, one last question. Recently, we heard Microsoft announce semantic kernel. Is LangChain semantic kernel the same?
Yeah, in fact, they serve the same purpose. So semantic kernel probably started later, if I'm not wrong, and then so it's still evolving. There are a lot of sort of good, great capabilities that it already possesses, and community is actively building to sort of add more features to it and all that. But definitely, I think both are headed in the same direction,
Right.
and they could be used for the same kind of purposes that we discussed so far.
Perfect. In fact, LangChain was released in October 2022 and semantic kernel March 2023. So
Okay.
3 or 4 months difference, right? Wonderful. Srikanth, very meaningful. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks a lot, Sandeep. Great to be talking to you again.
Wonderful. So with that, what you heard from Srikanth is LangChain is here, and LangChain is something which will help developers build applications at ease, leveraging the power of large language models. With that, thank you for watching us today. Keep watching TGIF. Have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend ahead. Bye-bye.